puppy life.
Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the Crossroads of the West in Salt Lake City, Utah. The time right now is 6:11 p.m. on Wednesday, February 5th, 2020. Wednesday, February 5th, 2020. We are glad to have you join us here on the Emergency Management Associates program. Thank you all for being here. We do appreciate it. If you'll just stand by with me for just about a minute, I've got to take care of some business here. I have got to sign into the chat. If you guys would just please stand by with me for just a minute. Got to sign into the chat. The only way I can do this is to go on the air first and bring up this page. And then once I'm on the air with you folks, then I can sign in and be part of your chat. So just hang in there with me for just another minute or so, and we'll take care of this matter here. Just a second here. All right, I think I'm in here. Yes, I'm here. Folks, thank you for standing by with me for a minute. We really do appreciate it. We've got a good program for you tonight. I am going to be talking about, thanks BJ, with the software that we have, we're able to provide you with graphics and show you what is going on around the world and here in the United States, and even in your neck of the woods when it comes down to that. So we are glad to see all of you here. We do have important information to share with you tonight. I'm going to transfer over to these graphics in just a half a shake here so we can show you exactly what is going on and why. Let me see here. All right, that's where we want to go. Stand by with me for half a shake. Nope, that was the wrong one. Sorry about that. I'm sorry, it's taken me a little bit longer than I would normally be taking to try to get into this page. Here we are. All right, we've got it. Okay, I want to show you what has been going on today. First off, over here in Peru, we've had two large earthquakes here in Peru, over in central Peru. A 5.1 magnitude earthquake hit early this morning. This was an earthquake that we talked about last night because there was another earthquake here as well. This one is a 5.1 magnitude quake hit today. Another earthquake hit last night, and this earthquake was another 5.1 near Barranca, or Barranca, excuse me, Barranca, Barranca, Peru, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. So we've had two 5.1 magnitude earthquakes. If you'll just stand by with me for a minute, I'm going to show you. This one here in Barranca was in north central Peru, up near the Ecuador border. This one down here from last night in Sakura, Peru, was a 5.1 here right near the coast. We still don't have any word of damages or injuries with these quakes. Yes, they are large quakes. 5.0 and above can cause damage and can cause injuries and or fatalities, but we haven't got any information about these earthquakes as of yet. We will try to get more information about these in the coming hours. Okay, but these aren't the only earthquakes that have happened. Over in Socorro, Mexico, off the coast of Mexico, Socorro Island, we've had another 5.1 magnitude earthquake. Okay, this was off the coast of Mexico, near Socorro Island. This was 206 kilometers northeast of Socorro Island. So this was out in the Pacific, again on the fracture zone here. As you can see my cursor here, this was directly on the fracture zone. And folks, not only on the fracture zone, but this is the San Andreas Fault as it comes out of the United States here. Okay, you see the San Andreas Fault here, drops down through Southern California here, over into the Gulf of California, and it continues down here to where this earthquake was, a 5.1 magnitude quake. Now, this earthquake possibly came from the south, more than likely came from the south, since we continue to have earthquakes down here from the south. We've had a 5.0 here in southern Mexico, so it wouldn't surprise me that this energy traveled up here and caused this earthquake over on the San Andreas Fault here. But folks, we know for a fact that there is energy up and down the San Andreas Fault throughout the entire state of California. So some of this energy could have come down the San Andreas Fault to cause this quake. Okay, this is a theory. This is my hypothesis. Okay, so we've had that earthquake. So there's three 5.1 magnitude earthquakes in the last 24 hours. It's not the only earthquakes that have happened. Those are just up here in South America and Central America here. Let's talk about this one down here, Macquarie Island, Australia, south of Australia. This is Australia here. Macquarie Island, is down here near the South Antarctic Ridge. This is the South Antarctic Ridge. This earthquake hit south of New Zealand. This is New Zealand, Australia here. This earthquake happened on this ridge. It's fracture zone, just north of the South Antarctic Ridge. Okay, now I want to show you something here. I'm going to show you another map, so you'll see what happened. Just a second here. All right. My phone is acting a little bit slow, and I don't know why, because I deleted some information off of it, so it shouldn't be acting slow at all. Okay, I'm going to show you another map. The reason why I'm showing you another map, there's a lot more activity than just this on Macquarie Island, south of New Zealand here. There's a lot more information than that. And that's one reason why we want to show you this. Okay, right here, we're showing you that earthquake at Macquarie Island. But look up here in New Zealand. Look up here in New Zealand. Off the coast of New Zealand, today on the western coast of New Zealand, we had a 5.07 magnitude earthquake here. Okay, and then we had the 5.6 at Macquarie Island, Australia, Macquarie Island, New Zealand. USGS is calling this Australia, but this is south of New Zealand. This is closer to south of New Zealand. But those aren't the only quakes, folks. Those aren't the only quakes. I'm going to show you some other information here as well. Up here north of New Zealand, and this is up near Raoul Island off the north coast of New Zealand, we have a 3.93. And in fact, we also had another 5 up here. It's been taken off the map. The earthquake has been taken off the map. All of these earthquakes here, all these earthquakes, 2.33, 2.36, 2.47, 2.27, 2.21, these are all these earthquakes are 2s, which are minor earthquakes, considered minor earthquakes. But like I said, there was another one up here, north of New Zealand, in the Kermadec. It's no longer there. It's been taken off the map, and it was also 5. Okay, going back to this map, folks, we had another 6.2 in Kemaduran, Indonesia. Now this earthquake, and I'm going to show you where this is, it's off the north coast of Java. Okay, it's off in the north coast of Java, in the Java Sea here. 6.2 was probably felt here. It was 111 kilometers, approximately 60 miles off the coast of Kemaduran, Indonesia, South Java. There may have been damage from this quake, but as I've stated before, when these quakes are out in the middle of the sea, in the water, the earthquake energy, the seismic energy, is dampened by the water. So that's what's going on there. That's what's going on just south of Java. We have a lot more earthquakes than we are seeing on this map. There's a lot more earthquakes that they aren't telling you about. Let's go over here to North Mariana Islands. This happened today too, a moderate 4.5 earthquake there. North of there in Chichishima, Japan, we had another 4.6 there. Another 4.6 there. Over here in Costa Rica, we had a couple other earthquakes. A moderate 4.8, an upper 4.8 magnitude earthquake, 135 kilometers west of Sardinal, Costa Rica. Now I'm going to widen this map out to show you where these earthquakes hit. Both of these earthquakes hit off the coast. But this one here, this 4.8, where did it hit? The San Andreas Fault. There's another 4.8 on the San Andreas Fault. Just east of there, out in the ocean off the coast of Nicaragua and Costa Rica here, off the coast, it's northwest of Costa Rica, and it is southwest of Nicaragua. This was another 4.7 upper range for 77 kilometers, about 40 miles, 42 miles west-southwest of San Juan del Sur, Nicaragua. Okay, so you can see exactly where this is. You can see exactly where this is. Now again, these are not the only earthquakes that have hit. Okay, I'm going to go over here to Puerto Rico. Going to go over here to Puerto Rico. I'm going to show you what's going on there. These are the earthquakes here that have hit on the southwestern end of Puerto Rico today. These here are out in the Caribbean Ocean, the Caribbean Sea. We still have minor earthquakes hitting over here on land here in Puerto Rico. 3.2 small quake, northwest of Magas Arriba, Puerto Rico. This is 1 mile northwest of Magas Arriba, Puerto Rico. These others here, 2.9 Talaboa. Here's a 2.7 Puenelas, Puerto Rico there. We have more quakes here. Palomas at 2.9. Here's a 3.5 in Indios, Puerto Rico. This is right on the coast. This is right on the coast where that 8.0 or 8.4 first hit, and an 8.0 returned a few days later. The 8.4 hit right off the coast here on a Tuesday, and on Friday, the 8.0 hit. So these people have had a lot to contend with down here in Puerto Rico. But look, there are still other earthquakes up here to the northwest of Puerto Rico. Now, some of these can still be considered aftershocks of the 6.3 magnitude earthquake that hit at the same time that Hurricane Maria came through. Okay, we have a 2.8 there. We have a 3.2 there, 3.1 there. There's a 3.2 there. They're considering this closer to the Dominican Republic. Yes, it is. But it's in the same general area where that large 6.3 hit. There's a 3.2 there. And over here, there's another 3.0, 71 kilometers northwest of Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. Now, we also have another earthquake out here, north of the Virgin Islands. Now, remember, this area continues to get hit by earthquakes. So far, none of them have been very large, much larger than a 3.4 or 3.5. This is a 2.8, a minor earthquake, approximately 60 kilometers or 35 miles north of Charlotte, Amalie, U.S. Virgin Islands here, U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay, so this area is getting hit. We have the Cayman Trench up here that is also bringing energy over here to the Puerto Rican area here. And that's all. The Dominican Republic did not have any earthquakes today at all. They all centered around here, around Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands here. Okay, that's not all, folks. There's more. As you notice here, USGS is not reporting anything in Europe. They are reporting this lone earthquake over here in the Maldives, a 4.5 magnitude quake off the southwest coast of India. This is India here. Maldives here, 4.5 there, mid-range 4. Moderate earthquake. But that's not all. That is not all. Okay, hold it just a second here. All right. All right. All right, now I'm back with you. I'm going back to the map here. Going back to the map here. Okay, those of you that are sending me messages, yes, I will be getting to those messages. Okay, Melissa just told me you couldn't see the phone because of the screen shares. I'm sorry about that. I forgot about the screen shares being up there. So I'll go back to the map. We're going to go back to the map and we're going to show you some more earthquakes here. There's quite a few more earthquakes than they are even telling us about. Okay, I'm going back to Macquarie Island here. Get my pen out right here. Okay, let's see here. Macquarie Island, just south of New Zealand, is here. Okay, that's where that hit. Again, this was a 5.6, a very large earthquake. A very large earthquake. Now, I showed you New Zealand earlier, and I'm going back, go back here. We did have an earthquake off the west coast of New Zealand, a 5.07 off the west coast of New Zealand. And then all the rest of these earthquakes here are in the 2 range. For the first time in a while, we've had a lot of 3s in New Zealand. Now they're just 2s. Those 2s are going to probably turn back to 3s. Okay, so we've had another 5 there. Up here off the northern coast of New Zealand, I showed you this, and I'll repeat it here. We had a 3.93. What they are not showing you from earlier is an earthquake that hit right up here in the Kermadec Islands, which are uninhabited. It's basically a bird sanctuary up here in the Kermadecs, but it was also a large 5 there. Okay, it hit earlier this morning. I was actually on the phone with Bella. Okay, remember Rebecca and Bella that put together that depth to magnitude conversion chart? I was on the phone with Bella here from England, and she and I were talking about this. And Rebecca is actually even more familiar than Bella is with New Zealand. And I will be talking more with Rebecca in probably tomorrow about these earthquakes in New Zealand. But you guys needed to see that. You guys needed to see that. Now, there are a lot more earthquakes to talk about. Okay, off the coast, the northern coast of South Java, Indonesia, we have a 6.2 here. I spoke about that just a few minutes ago. There are a lot more earthquakes than this out there. It shows an earthquake, a 4.2 at 11:04. The 6.2 hit at 11:12. So this 4.2 was an actual foreshock of the 6 that hit up here. It was actually a foreshock. Closer to land, but it was a foreshock. Again, as I stated before when we've had these large earthquakes, that I would rather see some aftershocks than only one foreshock. Why? Because this is a very large earthquake, a very strong 6.2 magnitude earthquake, large 6.2. And yes, when these large earthquakes hit, they do cause aftershocks, but we're still not seeing any aftershocks either out of USGS or the EMSC. Yet we know darn well that there are. Okay. Down in the south of Java, in Nagelwak, we have a 3.2 there. And we have two earthquakes off the coast there, off the southern coast. We have a 3.2 there. And just up to the west, we have a 3.9. Now that 3.9 and another one here, a 4.2, just east and south of Jakarta. Jakarta is right in here. These are the earthquakes, and they continue to happen. The next two earthquakes I'm going to show you, one is a 3.8 in Mendawi, and another 3.2 just south of there in what they call Sumatra, Indonesia there. Okay, now this is South Indonesia. Look at all the earthquakes in central Indonesia. There are a ton of them, a large swarm of earthquakes in central Indonesia. Now, what we've explained this before, but for people that haven't seen it before, why do you think we are having this many earthquakes? This whole area is full of tectonic plates, and one plate subducts under another, and subducts under another, and subducts under another. There are approximately 10 different plates here that are in subduction mode. That's why we have so many earthquakes down here in Indonesia and even the Philippines. Let's take a look at a few of these earthquakes. Okay, just north of Australia, we had a 2.7 off northwestern Australia that happened at 11:02 a.m. Mountain Time this morning. It's in the Banda Sea there. This is considered the Banda Sea here. South of Indonesia, north of Australia there. Okay. Now, while this is a 2.7 magnitude quake, a minor quake, it's going to figure into all the rest of these that are hitting. Okay. We have a 4.3, and I'm not going to hit all of these. I'm going to be general about this so you can get a good idea of what exactly is going on here. Okay, that was a 4.3. We have a 4.3 right next to it to the east, and right next to that we have another 4.2. Okay, now we've had 5.0 earthquake over here in Papua, Indonesia yesterday. Now we have a 4.2 aftershock. What is going on? That energy is moving west. It's moving west into all of this, right into the subducting plates. Okay, that's what actually is happening. Okay, going north from central Indonesia, 3.9s, 3.5. Going further north, there's another 3.9. I'm sorry. There's another 3.9 right there. Let's go north. There's a 3.08. Let's continue going north. Here's another 3.7 there. I'm sorry, it disappeared. There's another 3.7 there. Now there's a series of quakes right here too. We can open up this map a little further, and we have a total of 3 earthquakes there. From the southeast, we go 3.7, 3.7, 3.5, and 3.0. 3.7, 3.5, and 3.0 going northwest. Then going right up the fracture zone, earthquake fault here, just off the northern coast, the eastern coast up here of a place called Jornalig, 20 miles east of Jornalig, we have a 3.6. And over on the west side of the island there, 1 mile west of Bani, a 3.4 BANI, Bani, Indonesia, 3.4 there. Then as we move up into, oh gosh, we continued going up in, well, actually, these are all in the Philippines, excuse me. It wasn't either Indonesia. Journalog 3.6, Journalog Philippines, 3.4, and this is off the island of Mindanao, Philippines. And then northern Philippines up here, there's a 4.0. Okay, we started down here with 4s, we moved up here through 3s, and now we're getting a 4.0 in northern Philippines. Okay, again, look at the earthquakes on the fault. These earthquakes are moving right along the fault. Okay. Now, over in Japan, and this is kind of surprising to me because we only have 1 earthquake reported in Japan. This was a 2.5 magnitude quake in Takayama, Gifu Prefecture, Japan, over in just west of Tokyo. Tokyo's on the east coast of this area, and this is on the nearby the west coast. Takayama, Gifu Prefecture, Japan, a 2.5. And then we don't show anything up here along the Kamchatka Peninsula. But guess what, folks? There were 2 earthquakes here. These were 4s. One down here in the south part of the Kamchatka Peninsula, and up here in central Kamchatka Peninsula, we had another 4. They've been taken off the map. Okay, now we've talked about the west coast of the Pacific Ocean. Let's go down here over to South America. We have some earthquakes that we need to talk about here. Over near Santiago, not that far from Santiago, 44 miles west of Tongoy, Chile, we have a 3.3 here. Then over in central Chile, Argentina, near San Juan Province, Argentina, we have a 3.6, which we had here yesterday as well. Then going east, La Roya Province, Argentina, we have a 3.8. Okay, a series of 3 right here, almost in a row. Okay, then let's go north. Tarapaca, Chile, we've had a 3.5. Northern Chile, 3.5. And there's a few here. We have a 3.6 and a 3.0, 3.0 going north. So again, we have a series of threes in northern Chile. What happens when we get over to southern Peru? Moquegua, Peru, we have a 3.7. And north of there, and I mean almost directly north, in Cusco, Peru, 13 miles east of Cusco, Peru, we have a 3.5 there. So the seismic energy continued, a series of threes from central Chile and Argentina all the way north to Cusco, Peru. Then we had those two large earthquakes, one over here at 5.1 near Loreto, Peru, Loereto, Loreto, Peru. Then we had that 5.1 off the east coast here, and they've taken it off the map now. Go figure. It was right here off the east, the west coast, not the east coast. The west coast of Peru was right off here in the ocean, and they're not showing it now. Go figure. Anyway, just north and west of that other one on the coast, this was a 3.8 near about 88 kilometers, 65.8 kilometers from Huaquillas, El Oro, Peru. Like I said, we had another 5.1 right out here. We had this moderate quake here, and then we had the 5.1 over here in Peru. Okay. Then we have these earthquakes that we told you about off the coast of Costa Rica. It's 3.2 and another 3.3 there. North of there, we have another series of earthquakes, a 4.8, a 3.5, a 4.7, and a 4.0. There's 4 earthquakes here. Right here on the San Andreas Fault and going north until we get a 4.7 closer to shore. Closer to shore. Then we get back to southern Mexico. We don't have quite as many earthquakes here because we had that 5.1 south of there off the coast of Costa Rica. So that seismic energy hold up in Costa Rica. But as soon as we get on the other side of that border from Guatemala, we continue to have swarms of earthquakes here. Okay, I'm not going to get into that 10 plus right now. I can lengthen it out. It's going to show we have a bunch of clustered earthquakes here, but we still have this swarm of earthquakes going north east. Southern Mexico. 3.1s, 3.4s, 3.4s, 3.2s, 3.4s. These are all threes. These are all threes. We go north. Look at all these earthquakes. South central Mexico. South central Mexico. These are all on land. 3.7s, 3.6s, 3.5, 3.6, 3.6, 3.7. They're all threes in here. And we haven't even tapped out this other 10 plus until now. An even larger swarm there. Approximately 14 earthquakes there. Up here to the north, another 3.6, 3.6, 3.7, 3.5s, 3.6s. They're all threes here, mid-range to upper threes. Okay. Huge swarm of earthquakes in south central Mexico. Then we don't have any more. As we go, we leave our resort areas of south central Mexico. We go up towards Puerto Vallarta. We don't see any earthquakes like we saw yesterday here. And we continue to go north. There's that other 5.1 off of Mexico, central Mexico, that other 5.1 we talked about. Okay, that's what that is. Now I'm just going to touch, I'm not going into any huge detail about what's happened here in the Middle East. Pakistan, we had a 3.8 today. We talked about the earthquake 4.5 off the southwest coast of India in the Maldives. There's a 2.5 north of Iran. And as we continue going out here, south central Turkey at 2.5. I'm sorry. South central Turkey at 2.5 there. Then we go up here. Azerbaijan at 2.6. Southeast Turkey, we have a bunch of twos over here. This is a 2.0, 2.3, 2.8, etc. We have a 10 plus swarm here, up and down the coast, or not the coast, I'm sorry, up and down the earthquake fault there in western, eastern Turkey there. Central Turkey at 2.0 near Malata, Turkey. Then we go over to western Turkey near the Dokkanese Islands, which belong to Greece. We have a 2.3 and another 2.2 there in off of southwestern Turkey's border. We go north towards Greece. We have a 2.4 and a 2.5. I'm sorry, they were out in the water. The Aegean Sea, a 2.4 and a 2.5 there. Okay. We have only a few earthquakes over along the Adriatic Sea here. Corinthos 1.8, Calvrita 1.5, and then over here off the west coast of Greece, the northwest coast of Greece, we have a 2.7. It's not too surprising because the western islands of Greece usually get hit with one or two, maybe three earthquakes every day, sometimes more. Southern Italy, folks. Southern Italy. We have Calabria, Italy at 2.4 and a 2.2, just north of there. Central Italy. Umbria, Italy at 2.1 and Abruzzo, Italy at 2.7. Central Italy right there. Just minor quakes. minor quakes. Over here in Switzerland, Sulz, S-U-L-Z, Sulz, Switzerland, we have a 1.8. 1.8 up here in Switzerland. Going down to the southern France border, or southern France coast, excuse me, we have a 2.5. Then we don't have any more earthquakes there except over in Spain. The west coast of Spain, we have a 1.7 there. South coast of Spain, we have a 1.9. And over here, just across the water, Algeria has a 2.7 there. Not much is going on. But we have this large earthquake seismic energy coming up from the South Pacific and Asia, Indonesia. These small minor earthquakes that we're seeing over here in Pakistan and going east through Iran and over into Greece and Turkey and then Greece and up into Switzerland and down into Spain. We're soon to see some larger earthquakes through this Middle East and into Europe. I believe we're going to see some changes as that earthquake energy moves west. Now, there's one other earthquake that happened in the Atlantic Ocean today. This is they consider it the Azores, but if you can, I'm going to show you this. It's a 3.2. It's right there along the North Mid-Atlantic Fault. I got it. There you go. 3.2. They consider this the Azores, but it's right there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the North Mid-Atlantic Fault. Interesting how that happened. Interesting how that has happened. Now, I want to go over here to the Aleutian Islands. Well, before we do that, let's go over to Hawaii. I want to show you what's going on in Hawaii. As you can see, we have 20 plus earthquakes over here in Hawaii. Now, what is going on? What is going on? Down here off the coast of Pahala, southeast coast of Pahala, we have a 2.81 out here in the rubble pile, the volcanic rubble pile off the coast. Now I'm going to try and see if I can show you what is here. And no, it's not going to show me. No, it's too dark. It's too dark. It's not going to let me show you. If you go to Google Earth, you're going to find some seamounts here, some undersea volcanoes over here. There's magma moving. There's magma moving. Look at what's going on in Pahala. All these earthquakes are related to Kilauea, magma moving beneath the surface. Magma moving beneath the surface. Now, we have 2.04, 2.39, 1.81, 1.87, 2.02. There's a 2.0 there. There's a 2.79. But we still have 10 plus earthquakes there. Now we have an even larger swarm there. We have, let me count them real quick. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. There's 21 earthquakes right there. And that's not all of them. Then we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 here. There's a total of 31 earthquakes that can be tied to Pahala. All of these earthquakes are tied into Pahala, southwest part of the island of Hawaii. Okay, now, with that said, I am going to go here. I'm not even going to be able to do it. Okay, here I am. You can see one lone earthquake up here. This is just north of Kilauea. All these earthquakes here are down in Pahala. But the scientists are saying all of this earthquake activity is tied into magma movement up here towards Kilauea. And yes, we have seen earthquakes up here at Kilauea. This is almost directly north of Kilauea. We have a 2.82 magnitude earthquake just north of Kilauea there. And this is near the top, near the rim of Kilauea caldera, the rim of the volcano. The rim of the volcano. They are still showing a small hole. They're still showing a small hole here. This whole area here fell into the volcano. It's in the bottom of the crater now. This whole thing is in the bottom of the crater now. So this earthquake hit near the top of the crater. Near the top of the crater at Kilauea. Now there's a couple more earthquakes that we want to touch base on. Mauna Loa, just on the south flank, near the top of the volcano. Here's a 2.02 here. Mauna Loa. Just southeast of there, we have a 1.97. 1.97. That's in Hawaii. That's on the Big Island. Now, scientists are starting to become of the belief that Hawaii is the heartbeat of the Pacific. What happens in Hawaii stretches out to the Aleutian Islands, over to Japan, over to Central and South America, and up into North America. Okay? The heartbeat. Yet we have 20 plus earthquakes, closer to 30 earthquakes today on the Big Island. And yes, they're minor earthquakes. They're minor earthquakes. 2 days ago, we had a 4.5 there, near Kilauea. Near Kilauea. So we're seeing magma movement. And it's going up and up and up. It's increasing. It's increasing. Even I thought the Kilauea may have gone up since before now, meaning another eruption at Kilauea. It has not happened yet. Not yet. Okay? Let's go over into the Aleutian Islands, folks. We have several earthquakes in the central Aleutian Islands that we need to speak about. Over here, all of these are just on the north central part of the Aleutian Islands. We have a 4.1, 57 miles south-southeast of Adak, 4.1 there. Now we have 10 plus earthquakes just almost directly north of there. These are in the volcanic area of Adak Island, a 0.53, a 0.60, Okay. And 0 minus 0.36 and a 0.27 minus 0.47. All of these are connected to the volcano here. All these are connected to the volcano here. Semi-soporkanoi. Semi-soporkanoi. There's a watch going on here at this volcano. That's why we're getting all these earthquakes. They're all there. Minus 0.36, minus 0.01, 0.22, all the way going north right up to the volcano. There's a volcano there, right in the middle of the island. So now you've seen that. West of there, 24 miles west of Adak, here's a 1, magnitude 1.0 earthquake. Then south of there, west of there, we have a few more earthquakes here. There's a 1.5, a 1.66, a 2.33, and a 1.79 Tanaga volcano. Tanaga volcano here. These are relative to Tanaga volcano, just northwest of Tanaga volcano. It's been rumbling. It's been rumbling. There's a close-up shot of Tanaga volcano. Okay, now you see it. Now you see it. So that we have two volcanoes that are sending people into a little bit of panic, I think. Near the one over Semi-Sopokanoi, near Adak, and one over Tanaga volcano. That's what's going on in the central Aleutian Islands. Okay. Going east, again, along the Aleutian Islands, west of the peninsula, we have a 3.2. Then we get up into the peninsula. This is Cold Bay, 48 miles east-northeast of Cold Bay, 0.26. And why am I talking about 0.26 and minor earthquakes? Because, folks, we have some volcanoes down here. Okay? King Salmon, Alaska, we have a few earthquakes right here. King Salmon, Alaska. But that's not all, folks. There's a lot more. 1.90 near Old Alama volcano. Old Alama figures into this, folks. Then we get up into Anchor Point, south of Mount Redoubt. We have a 1.7 there. Then we go up towards Mount Redoubt volcano. We have a 2.2, a 2.1, a 1.3, a 1.1, and a 2.3. Look at the earthquakes all around Mount Redoubt. And the beginning of last week, Mount Redoubt was steaming off. That's why I'm showing you these small earthquakes around these volcanoes. Okay. We've had steam at Tanaga volcano. We have had steam and a small eruption at Semi-Sopokanoi. Over at Shishalden. Over near this one, near just south of west of Cold Bay. Shishalden is right down here. It has been erupting with magma coming out of the top of the summit. So those are three just over in the Aleutian Island area, just and over at the very tip of the Alaska Peninsula. There's three of them. Then we go to Old Alama that has not been erupting or putting out steam. That's four, and it's shaking around there. Then we have earthquakes all around Mount Redoubt. That's five, and it's been steaming off. Mount Redoubt has been steaming off. Now, let's go up further north. There's a lot of earthquakes. There's a large swarm of earthquakes. That's Mount Redoubt. Look what's going on over near Anchorage, Alaska. South of Anchorage, we've got a 1.6 Sterling, Alaska. 11 miles southeast of Anchorage, we've got a 1.70. Big Lake, just north of Anchorage, we have a 1.5. Now these are, yes, I understand that these are ones. 1.7, 1.3, Fishhook, 2.3. Big Lake, another 1.5. 2.3 just north of here. Alaska is shaking, folks. What do we know about large swarms of earthquakes? We tend to have large earthquakes. After and during a swarm, we tend to have large earthquakes. Then the seismic activity relaxes for a while. We may be looking at a large earthquake hitting south central Alaska. Okay, let's go north up here to Denali National Park. Northwest of Mount McKinley, we have a minor earthquake. This is a 1.9. Over here near Mount McKinley, we have a 1.9. Northeast of Mount McKinley, we have a 2.3. Northwest of Mount McKinley, Cantwell, Alaska, 65 miles west of Cantwell, Alaska, we have a 1.4. East of there, east of McKinley, we've got a 2.1. So we have ones and twos surrounding Mount McKinley. Then we have a series of earthquakes going north from there. Now I'm going to point these out. We've got 1.9 going north, 2.3, 0.9, 1.3, 1.5 at Nenama, and then up here to Fairbanks, we have a 1.6. So except for one of these earthquakes, one was a 2.3, up here at Fairbanks, we have another 1.6 there. Minor earthquake activity. Minor earthquake activity. Now, over towards the Arctic Circle today. Rampart House, Yukon Territory, is a 2.5, just above the Arctic Circle. 2.5 Yukon Territory up here. Going over west, Husala, Alaska, 2.7, right now just north of Kobuk. And this one's a 2.5 at Kobuk. Kobuk, Alaska, this time last year had a 6.3 here. So we're still seeing minor aftershocks hitting the area around Kobuk, Alaska. North of there, north of Kobuk, we have a 1.6 up there. Now let's go west and see what this is. Over at Noatak, we have a 2.5, excuse me, a 2.0. Noatak here is a 2.0. Over here at at this hand there, we continue to get earthquakes here. we continue to get earthquakes. This is a 3.3. We've been having 2s and 3s here for about 2 or 3 weeks. 3.3 here, we've been having 2s and 3s here for 2 or 3 weeks now. One of the northwestern points of Alaska there. Now, before we go down further towards Canada, and we are there, we're going to go over to Queen Charlotte's Island. South of village of Queen Charlotte's Island, we've got a 2.0. So we're getting earthquake activity coming right out of Alaska to Queen Charlotte's Island. Let's go further south. Darrington, Washington is 0.4. Right near there. Carnation, Washington, a 1.63. Okay. Now they're not showing any more activity here in Washington and Oregon. Don't quite understand that. Let me show you some more. I think you're going to be just a little bit surprised. Okay. You guys are going to be a little bit surprised. This is Mount Rainier, Voigt Creek. Look at all the magma infill. Also, look at the amount of steam that's ejecting from the volcano. You see my cursor here? I'm showing you the steam ejecting from the volcano. It's all throughout this seismogram. All throughout the seismo, we have steam ejecting from the volcano. Interesting, huh? Let's go to another one here. This one is Mount Baker. Look at all this activity. Look at all this activity. And yet everybody's reporting nothing. Everybody else is reporting nothing. This is Mount St. Helens East Dome, EDM, infilling Mount St. Helens. Infilling Mount St. Helens. That was all day today and last night, the top of it's last night. I'm going to go and show you the seismo, that's information that's going on now. You can see the heavy black and red and blue lines here. There's magma infill going on. And then a blip here. Okay, this heavy blue line here, magma infill. And I don't know why all of a sudden it dipped right here. Okay, because this line, it hasn't even happened yet. Okay, it is now 6:15 in the Pacific Coast time zone, Pacific time zone. So why we have this line here is unknown. We don't know. It's not a earthquake. Doesn't even have that signature. This is all magma infill here. Let's go to the next one. This is Mount Hood. Okay, Augsburger Mountain near Mount Hood. We have a blip here. We have magma infill going on. And down here it's heavy. We've got blobs of magma going through here. Okay, heavy magma infill all day long here. Since it started heavy probably about 11 o'clock last night, Pacific time. Okay, let's go to tonight's seismogram here, Mount Hood. That's what's going on now. We've got a tiny incident right here, 0.5 or something like that. All this is magma infill here. A ton of magma infill. Okay, that's what's going on in Washington and Oregon. Yes, they'd like to tell us. USGS isn't even telling us about those earthquakes that I showed you on the EMSC screen. USGS isn't even telling us about this. They're not telling us anything about this one south of Queen Charlotte's Island. And they're not telling us about anything over in Yellowstone area. 9 miles northeast of West Yellowstone, we have a 0.24. And then this one that's just southeast, we have a minus 0.7 that's up in the hill. Up in the hill, 12 miles east of Old Faithful Geyser. 12 miles east of Old Faithful. And I'm going to zoom in and show you this earthquake. There we are right there. If I'm not mistaken, that's Old Faithful right there throwing steam up. The Norris Geyser Basin. The Norris Geyser Basin. No, that wasn't Old Faithful. That was another geyser that had been shooting up. That was another geyser. And actually, there was another earthquake there that was hidden by this other one. This is a 0.09, also in Yellowstone. This other one I reported to you just a minute ago, 0.24 there. Okay. This is out in the hills, 9 miles northeast of West Yellowstone. Kind of rough terrain out there. And I'm zooming in on this earthquake. This is out in the forest there. This is out in the forest there. 0.09. So it's shaking. Not as much as I thought they would show, and there's probably quite a few earthquakes that we're not even being told about here by the EMSC. Utah State University is the one that monitors all these stations out here. And maybe tomorrow I will show you those stations. Maybe tomorrow we'll go over to the seismograms for the University of Utah and show you Yellowstone. Okay, one of the other areas that I wanted to show you, and it's still hitting today, is where a cousin of mine lives near Preston, Idaho. Southeast Idaho, Preston, Idaho. Because it had another earthquake today. Yes, it's a minor one, a 1.26. minor earthquake near Preston, Idaho. And this time was north of those lakes that I told you about yesterday. This is where the earthquakes hit yesterday, right here. This is north of there. And it's right in the middle of a field. Right smack dab in the middle of a field. Near Preston, Idaho. 3 miles west-southwest of Preston. And like I said, my cousin lives near those lakes, within, I want to say, 2 or 3 football fields. So we're going to keep an eye and see what happens there. We're going to keep an eye out and see what happens there. All right, let's go over to California. Let's go to California. Over here, south of the Gorda Escarpment here, we have the geysers in Sonoma County. We have 20 plus earthquakes over there in the geysers. Geysers is that geothermal plant that good old Harry Reid had something to do with there. Just north of there at Fort Bragg, California, we have a 1.65. We come down to the geysers with 20 plus quakes there. Over here near East Quincy, California, we have a 0.7. Dropping further south, Mammoth Lakes. We have a series of earthquakes around Mammoth Lakes here. We have a 0.16, a 1.49, and 2 other earthquakes here, a 0.82 and a 0.62. So we have 4 earthquakes around Mammoth Mountain. Good old Mammoth Mountain. Let's go back towards the coast. Just southeast of Monterey Bay, in the Pinnacles, we have a 1.7. Excuse me there, 1.7 there. The Pinnacles is a volcanic area. South of there, what do we have there? San Bernardino, California, and Bradley, California, a 1.79 and a 1.42, right next to the San Andreas Fault. The Pinnacles up here is on the fault, and both of these 2 earthquakes are right near the fault as well. Over here, south of there, we're going back to the Mojave. Back to the Mojave. Olancha, California, a 1.35, 65 miles north of Ridgecrest. Olancha, California got hit again. Yes, it's just a minor earthquake, 1.38. Coso Junction, 0.88, 1.99. Coso Junction got hit. Devil's Kitchen. .99 and 1.10 Coso Junction. Okay, Coso Volcano. It's there. It's there. Just looking for something real quick. Guess what, folks? Can we say Devil's Kitchen? Coso Volcano? More activity there? All right. So that's Kozo. Let's go down further south in the Mojave. We have another swarm to talk about. Little Lake, California. We have a bunch of swarms, right? A bunch of earthquakes constitute a pretty good sized swarm here. 1.5s, 0.66, 1.08, all these in Little Lake, California. Let's go south. Searles Valley, 0.76, and the earthquakes continue. Searles Valley, 0.23, Ridgecrest, 1.15, and these earthquakes continue. 1.90, 1.6, 1.83, 1.39 Ridgecrest. All these are ones. Searles Valley again. Let's continue. Trona, California, 1.05. Trona, California is where most of the damage happened when Ridgecrest hit. When the two 6.9s and the 7.1 hit, Trona got most of the damage. Okay, this earthquake was approximately 13 miles south of Trona. 13 miles south of Trona. So Trona is actually up in this area right here. Yeah. All right. Then let's go west. Johannesburg, California. We've got 3 earthquakes along the Garlock Fault here. Okay. This one is 0.49. Actually, we have 4 earthquakes. I'm sorry. One was hidden. 1.22 was 0.89, 0.8, and a 2.07. Johannesburg, doggone it. I don't know why that happened. Here we go. Johannesburg, California. 4 earthquakes there along the Garlock Fault. We go south. We still have a 0.49, 8 miles west-southwest of Johannesburg. And you can see the fault. You can see the fault. And it points right next to, what do we have here? The San Andreas Fault. Good old San Andreas here. From Johannesburg, Bond, California, a 1.33 today. Going towards Lake Los Angeles, a 1.03. 1.03. Out here in Barstow, we had a 1.34. Barstow's getting a lot of activity, folks. Good old Barstow. The last time we had a good sized quake there, I went and triangulated it on Google Earth and found out it was right beneath the mall in Barstow. Right beneath the mall in Barstow, middle of the desert. All right, let's go further south because there are bigger fish out here. Loma Linda, a 1.03, east of Los Angeles, Loma Linda. Going to Home Gardens. Remember Home Gardens over near Glen, what was it, Glen Avon? Yeah, Glen Avon, where everything started last year. Glen Avon. Banning, California, 1.1. We have a good sized swarm here, folks. Idlewild, California, Got quite a few earthquakes here in Idlewild: 1.31, 0.34, 0.9, 0.69. All these up in the Anza Gap area. The Anza Gap. Now, let's go into North San Diego County. Palomar Observatory. One mile southwest of Palomar, where the telescope is. We had an earthquake today. Palomar gets hit on a pretty frequent basis. This one is 0.88, the Palomar Observatory today. Out in the mountains east of, northeast of San Diego. Interesting. I'm trying to find the telescope here so I can show you. This is 1 mile southwest of Palomar. I've seen everything but Palomar Observatory. Southwest. When you go to Google Earth, folks, all right, there's the observatory at Palomar Mountain. That's the observatory. This is where the telescope is. They've got a museum here. They've got another small museum here. And you can walk around the telescope, inside the telescope area, and sometimes you will see scientists working on the telescope, looking out into the heavens. So that's Palomar Observatory, folks. I've done a lot of camping at around Palomar Observatory. Over near where I used to live, 1.21 in Vista, California. Vista, California got hit today. Minor earthquake, but Vista, California still got hit. East of San Diego, Julian, California, the apple pie capital of San Diego County. Julian, California got hit. Borrego Springs, 1.94. Woohoo! Borrego Springs got hit today. 2.082, 1.12 in Borrego. Several earthquakes around the top of the Chocolate Mountains there. Okay. Going further east. Further east, we have Ocotillo Wells, just west of the Salton Sea. Ocotillo Wells right here got hit. This is a 1.14 earthquake. Now, Calipatria, California got hit again today. A 2.04 earthquake just south of the Salton Sea. Yesterday I showed you where that geothermal pumping operation was. Today, this earthquake is over in the middle of a field. 2.04 earthquake in the middle of a field in Calipatria, California. Again, Calipatria, California is where that geothermal complex is. Right here. Good old Calipatria, California, the geothermal complex. All right, we showed you there. But we have a couple more quakes here. Holtville, California, a 1.34. I had a debate tournament a lot of years ago in Holtville, California at the high school. 1.34 today, and a 1.26 in Holtville. Holtville, California. And again, these were in the middle of fields out there. They have lettuce and potatoes, cabbage out there in these fields. I've driven through there many times. So that's what happened over in Southern California today. Not to be outdone with, we have someplace else to go here. Alva, Oklahoma, a 1.7. South of there, we have a 2.73 near Chickasha, 3.7 near Chickasha, Oklahoma, and right next to it near Blanchard, Oklahoma, we have a 1.89. And we have a 2.0 at Wynwood, Oklahoma. Wynwood, 2.0. One more earthquake here. Boley, Oklahoma, a 2.19. These earthquakes are in oil and gas pumping operation areas. All of them are. All of them are. I'm going to show you something here. This is in Boley, Oklahoma. Boley, Oklahoma. Come on. It's not letting me zoom like I need to. Here's one of the oil gas pumping operations there. They're all over this area. They're all, doggone it, did it again. I don't want today's weather. They're all over the place. Every one of these earthquakes are in oil and gas pumping operation areas. Let's look at this one in Wynwood. 2.0 Wynwood, Oklahoma. Okay, come on, zoom for me. It's not wanting to do it. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. There's another one. That's in Wynwood, Oklahoma. So that gives you an idea. Everywhere where there's an earthquake, within a very short distance, we're going to see an oil and gas pumping operation. There's another one with a jack, pumping a jack. Okay, this whole area, all these earthquakes in Oklahoma are a result of fracking, and not necessarily just the operation itself. Very little has to do with just the operation itself. These are man-made drill points. Man-made drill points that are man-made faults. That's why those earthquakes hit. Man-made faults. Okay, all those earthquakes in Oklahoma in the oil and gas pumping operation. All right, now we've taken you for a tour of the world again. We're taking you for a tour of the world again. Let's go over here to the chat room. I've kind of neglected the chat room because it's not as easy as it was at YouTube, but I'm still here. Folks, Scooter says, I've seen a lot of Facebook of crows out in parking lots. Crows out in parking lots. Just hanging out in parking lots. Hundreds of thousands of them. Interesting. Yes, Terry confirmed all that, guys. You're right. He did. He did. Yes, I'm very glad Terry explained Planet X and wormwood and everything else and the factors of why we're getting the earthquakes and everything that we are. It all figures into it. It all figures into it. It does. Okay. I'm going to try. I'm scrolling back through here just a little bit, folks. Some Scooter says banana cream pie. Send some over here. I'd love to have some banana cream pie. I have to go over to the Village Inn and get my fill of banana cream pie. And Barb is talking about locusts over in Africa. Yes, there's going to be a lot worse by June. And they're starting to spray, which possibly is going to make matters worse. Not with the locusts necessarily, but what are they spraying all over the people that are there? Okay. Erupting Shindaki volcano from 2 days ago. That's what I've heard. I've not had any pictures of Shindaki volcano. And in fact, nobody has even sent me anything. And I went looking for some yesterday and couldn't find any pictures of the Shindaki volcano erupting. Let me see now. Let me look at that. Hold on. See if I can find it. Okay. Let me see if anybody has it now. I plugged it in and it went over to Sakurajima. Okay, let me see what I can have here. I think I found something. Large eruption at Mount Shindaki volcano in Japan ejects a plume of 7,000 meters, and that is approximately 24,000 feet. 24,000 feet in the air triggers pyroclastic flow. Let me bring this up here. Hold on. Okay, that's it right there. Strong volcanic eruption sent a plume of ash and gas 7,000 meters in the air and created a 900-meter long pyroclastic flow on the southwest slope of the crater. Erupted at 5:30 in the morning on February 3rd, just 2 days ago. So now you've seen it. Yay. That's awesome. Barb sent me pictures today. Let me see if I got them. Let me see if I've got them. Because sometimes I don't get them. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I don't get them. Why is that doing that? There we are. They weren't here earlier. I got them now. Oh, okay? You sent me stuff of the coronavirus. China death toll hits 563, and I have information here. Hold the phone a minute. I have some more information about that. Okay, hold on. I don't know why it's bouncing around the way it is. Okay, hold on. I may have some more information here. We're up over 2,000 or 20,000 cases. There are currently 20,626 confirmed cases worldwide, 426 fatalities. And that's not all, folks. We have more. Um, we have more cases here in the United States. We've got a shipload of cruise people that are being quarantined off the coast of Japan. Over on our the Freedom Revolution Network, on the Freedom Revolution Network, you're going to see a study here of all the cases worldwide. All the cases worldwide. This is a map showing all of the cases worldwide. We have cases in Canada, the United States, Mexico. We've got cases over in Australia. We've got cases over in Northern Europe. We've got cases everywhere. Okay. I reported all of that I reported the great majority of that last night, that the caseloads are increasing. The caseloads are increasing. There are some rumors that I can't verify right now that the caseload is increasing up to 100,000 plus. That is what I heard earlier today. And I'm going to get more information on it. I will have more information on it. Here is a guy, for those in quarantine, at the air base over in Riverside, March Air Force Base in Riverside. It's got Zumba classes and sandwiches and hours of downtime. KRDO.com is reporting that. KRDO News there in Southern California. Those in quarantine at the air bases, Zumba classes, sandwiches, and hours of downtime. There's a good article on it. KRDO.com. KRDO.com. They're putting them up. There is an actual hotel over there at March Air Force Base, and each person has their own room. They keep the families together, but people have their own rooms there, and they're quarantining them. They're quarantining the people. Barb says 3 ships arrived with Americans from Wuhan being held at different military bases till they're cleared. And they're holding them up to 14 days right now. They're holding them up for 14 days. And we have a lot more information that is going to be forthcoming within the next probably 24 hours. Because now we're just trying to vet some information before we pass it on to you. But it should be interesting. Well, okay, I take that back. For those of you that are listening on iHeartRadio and over on Pandora and other radio places, she's meant planes instead of ships. 3 planes. 3 planes have arrived and they're quarantining the people. Larry, my friend, thank you. We appreciate you being here too. Larry lives down in Central America, Belize, and he feeds us information all the time. We appreciate him being here with us and being able to send us information when he gets it. He's an emergency manager himself. So I C2B2, I'm almost done here. What did you miss? We actually told you about all the earthquakes all around the world, literally. We spent some time in Hawaii to talk to you about Kilauea and the earthquakes just south of there that are feeding magma to Kilauea. Over at Mauna Loa, we have earthquakes over there. We have 2 volcanoes out in the Aleutian Island chain that are getting hit right and left. We talked about that. Mount Redoubt, Mount Oldilama volcano is shaking over there in Alaska. All over. Fuego volcano, by the way, in Guatemala is erupting to a big tune, erupting big time. Talk about Shiitake volcano over there in Japan, 21,000 foot eruption 2 days ago, and it's still erupting. Scooter says future in-laws are moving to Belize. There's a lot of Americans moving to Belize, one, to get away from the taxes and get away from the garbage that's going on here in the United States. A lot of people are moving there. Anyway, folks, it's all but 8 o'clock. We've been here just shy of 2 hours now. I want to thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. We really do. For those of you that are on YouTube over at the Freedom Revolution Network channel, be advised our video will be over on the Emergency Management Associates channel as well. It will also be posted to Facebook sometime this evening as soon as YouTube has got it cleared, and it will be posted over on my Facebook page and on the Emergency Management Associates Facebook page. You'll find it there. You'll find us all over the place on Twitch, DLive, Periscope. You're going to find links over on Twitter where you're going to be able to find us there. You're going to also find us on Pandora and over at iHeartRadio. We appreciate everybody that is paying attention to our channel, paying attention to our broadcasts. We appreciate your love, your support, and your kindness. Thank you very much. Uh, we keep getting donations over at PayPal. We keep getting donations over to our P.O. Box, which here is P.O. Box 526, Sandy, Sandy, Utah 84091. You can find information on our PayPal, and also you can make donations here to the Freedom Revolution Network, earmarking it to me and or Emergency Management Associates. We get all of our money. We get all of our money from Freedom Revolution, whereas YouTube did not do that. They took 60% of our money. That's one of the biggest reasons we left. Okay, and I keep telling you about it, but it's the truth. So anyway, that's what's going on, folks. We appreciate you all being here. God bless you. Do know that we love you. As Walter Cronkite has said, not thanks for the memories. That was Bob Hope. Anyway, thanks for being here, folks. We do appreciate each and every one of you. You make the world of difference. You make the world a difference here, here on our broadcast, and we want you to know about that. It makes a world of difference here. Have a good night, folks. God bless. Do know that we love you. We'll see you tomorrow, or if anything else happens, we will be back here to bring it live to you as soon as the information becomes available. Good night, everybody.